We're live.
We are live.
Oh, snap.
Can you hear Darius?
Oh yeah, we probably should have tested that.
Oh,
Give me a second, guys.
yeah, that's fine.
They must be Bluetooth or something.
Well, this is going to give people time to come in anyway.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what it'll do. Totally on purpose. Totally intentional. Come through. We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, group and page with Dr. Angel Jones.
Hey y'all.
Okay.
Right, you good? Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So-
was about to say my microphone was, my headphones was going crazy. I was just like,
So I'll bring my mic a little closer. Okay, cool. So we're gonna warm up as we always do. We're gonna warm up with a topic that is near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. Angel, you're not a Southerner, but you can chime in anyway. Waffle House versus Ihop. This came up and people chimed in. We have various opinions on that, I'm sure. So I'm going to just throw down the gauntlet and say that Waffle House is better.
Oh, gosh. You see, I feel like, okay, so I didn't grow up in Atlanta, and I feel like that was an Atlanta thing for a while. Like, I grew up in the South. So we did have Waffle House, and we also had Huddle House. So
yeah, we had Huddle House.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Mella.
So
Huddle House is real.
I feel like if it's anything, it'll be Huddle House for me because that's what I had access to. And then I feel like it kind of transitioned to IHOP at first because one, it was Jaleesa because Jaleesa loved her pancakes and she will always drag me to IHOP. So I just kind of fell in love with the menu. So I get the same thing every time, the chicken Florentine crepes. I get that every single time. My order does not change. And then when I started hanging around Jamal and Jazz and Jamel and all these other people that's like from Atlanta, like they always was going to Waffle House. So I feel like it was like a gradual thing. But if I were to say what is better, it's not even on the list. It's Huddle House for me.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all from the country, because I didn't grow up with Huddle House at all. I see it on the road, though. I would see it on the road, but I never really like set foot in a Huddle House like that. It was either Waffle House for me or IHOP. And I would just say this. Me and Darius have talked about this. IHOP in the early 2000s was hitting. And then something happened. And I don't know what happened in the 2010s. And it's not just Metro Atlanta, guys. It's all over the place. IHOP, it's falling off. That's all right, what y'all got to say about that? It's falling off.
As a non-Southerner, I still don't think that there's any contest. I will take Waffle House every single day over IHOP. My mom is obsessed. Like every time she used to come to visit me from New York, I would have to take her from the airport straight to a Waffle House because she's obsessed with the grits. And I'm obsessed with the prices. At the end of the day, Waffle House tastes better, and the prices are better than IHOP.
Thank you.
Waffle House.
Yeah, prices. I can't agree with that. Prices are definitely better.
Yeah, I can ride with that, but you know, I'm just like Mella with that one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have Waffle House for the first 17 years of my life. You know what I'm saying? So it was a very difficult thing to come up here and find out it was well, I knew what IHOP was. I didn't eat at IHOP until I was 20. But yeah. I was just like, yo, when I came up here to go to college, right? You know what I'm saying? I was just like, people like, hey, man, we're finna go to the Waffle House. And I was like, the Huddle House? They was like, Waffle House. Like Waffle and I was just like, I don't know nothing but the Huddle House. You know what I'm saying? I don't get down no Waffle House. And then they took me to Waffle House, and I was just like, man, this ain't nothing but Huddle House light. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I said, but yeah, run me that All-Star. You know what I'm saying? See, because at the Huddle House, it's the big huddle. You know what I'm saying? Like at the Huddle House, it's the big huddle. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, run me that All-Star then. You know what I'm saying? Give me some side of cheese grits. Because I like cheese grits. I eat grits with butter and salt. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to get into the particulars of how people eat grits and how I would disown you if you eat grits a certain way. But
careful, we got a Yankee among us.
I like butter, cheese, and sugar, and I'm not afraid to say it.
I'm used to it by now. I'm so used to this by now.
I don't even know why I'm acting shocked. You know what I'm saying? Like that's they get down.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
My wife don't even eat grits. She just be like, yo, if it ain't got shrimp on top of it or something, I don't care for grits. She's from New Jersey, so you know what I'm saying. So that shit. Nah, she's from New Jersey and Caribbean, so they're like grits.
Yeah, that's all.
We eat porridge, son. You know what I'm saying?
Porridge, porridge, son.
Because I was like, porridge, like Goldilocks.
It exists.
I was like, I thought that was just something like a little nursery rhymes, fairy tales and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, bears was out here really getting mad about a real thing. I thought porridge was just a make believe. I thought it was like another word for cream of wheat or something. But yeah, I take Waffle House over IHOP because IHOP smell like mop water.
Thank you.
Dirty mop water.
Wow.
Dirty mop water.
All right, let me throw a curveball. So if we put original House of Pancakes in here, the original House of Pancakes, you've been there before?
Let me tell you now.
I have been there.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
You write everybody off the list when it comes to original House of Pancakes. Like, from the original one in Chicago, all the way to the one. Now, I don't particularly like the one in Buckhead for real.
Yeah.
I only like the ones in the suburban areas because the one in Buckhead be trying to get a little fancy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, don't finesse my pancakes like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, treat my pancakes right. You know what I mean? But yeah, because everything they got in that place is 10 times better now. You're gonna hit your pockets. I haven't been in there and paid, like me and my wife, I haven't been in there and paid under 50. You know what I'm saying? Because
Y'all tripping. Waffle House. Y'all tripping.
All right, I'm gonna hit you with something, Angel.
It's an experience.
I'm gonna hit you with something, and it's gonna blow your mind. Cinnamon bun pancake.
Boy, let me tell you something.
Yes, it's my god, another level. Another level.
Good.
I mean, Dr. Angel, if you eat this place, I guarantee you change your perspective about it. I can see you change it. You know what I'm saying? After the first bite, it's a metamorphosis will happen.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna change your mind. You're like, yo, I've been eating breakfast incorrectly for a long, long time.
Cinnamon bun pancakes.
So,
okay.
see, the one that I went to, I think it was off of Cheshire Bridge.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that this was a legit place because they have not changed the blinds. It's open.
It's something about unkept restaurant.
The blinds are still dirty to this day, I bet you.
Hey, they failed their health inspection. Them must be good.
Seats are ripped, everything. It's just like, listen. It's an experience.
I'm not paying $50 for dirty blinds. Y'all make no sense.
Hey, man, your filthy blinds are filled with the dust particles of happy patrons. You know what I'm saying?
The remains of happy people. They asked to be buried at the restaurants in the
yeah.
With my allergies are set up, I'm good. I'll be at the Waffle House.
It's almost as equivalent as like if the
the cook at the Waffle House. If he don't smoke,
absolutely. He can take a break in the middle of making your eggs, go smoke and come back. Yeah, absolutely. That is mad authentic.
I live in Alpharetta, right? And I went to this one Waffle House that I deem unworthy.
Oh wow!
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna give away his location.
Okay.
But because everybody in there, they ain't got enough struggle in them to cook my food.
It's Alpharetta, boo. Ain't but so much struggle in Alpharetta. I mean,
exactly. I was just like,
you gotta go to Bankhead to get some struggle. You ain't gonna get struggle in Alpharetta, bro.
I was like, man, you ain't stressed at all. You don't smoke. You can't cook my waffle, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send this back. Like I get the plate. Oh, I'm gonna send it back. There's not enough like cigarette ash in my.
You ain't had enough. You ain't
enough struggle
privileged to cook my waffle.
Yep, I need struggle.
I don't feel the struggle in the bite.
I'm here for that.
I can't. Exactly. I can't have your privilege cooking my waffle.
It's like we said, if Jimmy Lee isn't standing outside when you arrive and lets the door open for you to let you in before he cooks, then it might not be.
I love it. Multiple roles played by every Waffle House employee. I'm here for it.
Exactly. And if your Waffle House cook can't fight, that's on the job application.
It is required.
It's required because that club crowd coming here,
10 o'clock, right? Man, listen.
Exactly. The club crowd coming here, you better be
at fight. Several fights in the Waffle House.
You better be able to handle
at this point.
You better be able to handle a lush crowd at 2 a.m. You just have to.
Absolutely.
You just have to because they're gonna come. Like you have no
hungry
choice.
And wilding. Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not the club, it was like a lot of disciples at the parties at 2 a.m. in the morning going to Waffle House. So not the club crowd, but a whole bunch of disciples, and we loud too. So.
Good point.
Hey man, I'm loud by myself, so you know what I'm saying. It is what it is. But yeah, Waffle House unanimous.
Yeah, I'd say it's unanimous between the two. And I would just like to note if this gets the ball rolling for Ihop, man. Because, see, I don't want to see Ihop struggle. I don't want to see Ihop struggle like this. But the service is falling off hard. Like, you got managers in there coming in there. You know what I'm saying? Just at the register. And they just look like they're dying inside, man. They're yelling in broken Spanish to their kitchen and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're looking like depression. It's just it's terrible. It's bad. Like we shared this in episode. It was the early episodes where I went to Macon, and it was after my little cousin's graduation. Well, my wife's cousin, but she my cousin too. And we had to wait 3 hours just to hear that they weren't seating any more people. Because
I would have waited 3 hours.
That was at IHOP.
I thought it was 1 hour. You waiting 3 in a row? Nah.
Because we were just
and
like,
y'all
it's
still
her
can't
night.
sit down?
We didn't even sit down. Not even like being served. We didn't even sit down.
Hey man, you're a patron saint. Let me tell you that right now. Because after 15 minutes, I would have been at the 24-hour McDonald's drive-thru.
I mean, I have no
breakfast at the Waffle House, 20 sausage.
You know what I'm saying? I would have went to McDonald's and got me a McGriddle.
Oh my God. Like, she had the graduation cap on. She was ready to sit down and revel in the family and stuff. It's like 20 of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they were just like, nah, we short staffed, 2-3 people didn't show up. I mean, that's not a me problem, but
that's a y'all problem.
Right. Exactly.
Because I remember like after like, let me see. Me and Siobhan, we went to the IHOP right over here in Peachtree Corners, right? That was the first time I ever got cold coffee, cold sausages. Ooh. And I mean, but half of my meal was cold. And I was just like, yo, ma'am, my food cold. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to cause no trouble. You know what I'm saying? But can you get me straight? She was just like, ain't that cold? And I was like, see, this how we have misunderstanding in our community right here. See, I came to you with a problem. I wasn't upset. I didn't give you no lip. I just pointed out a problem.
Right.
Now you got your lip. I ain't mad at you hard. It's early in the morning hard. I see them white people over there getting you trouble. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I was polite. She was just like, well, I just take it back there and get you another one. I said, no.
Nope. Not at this point.
Nope, it's gonna be extra time.
And take it off my bill.
Exactly. I'm about to say, because you might come back here with some cook zest on it, and I don't want no cook zest on my sausages. You know what I'm saying? So I just, can you go get me some more coffee? Like a new, you know what? I said, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna eat this cold sausage because I don't know what kind of state y'all in here. I seen your lady over. I'm talking about everybody was in there that was working on the waiting staff was on go, and they were having it with them people at them tables. And I was just like, you know what, man? All right, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it, you know what? I still leave a tip. You know what I'm saying? It might not be as great as the tip I would leave, but I still leave a tip.
Yeah.
And I understand, I worked in the service industry. I know it ain't pizza and cream every day, and I know IHOP has not been its best these days. You know what I'm saying? The only one I trust is the one in Augusta, my hometown. You know what I'm saying? That's the only one I trust. It still stay good, no matter what, because that's them same old lady crew still work there. I love them to death.
The same old lady crew. I can't. Well, there you have it. Unanimously, Waffle House / Huddle House.
Right.
Yeah. Or the original Pancake House.
Oh yeah, right.
Is the real winner.
Let me tell you, they the real winner because they had the best bacon I ever had in my life. But we're gonna get ready to roll into the show.
Get my light together.
Are you straight?
Yeah, I gotta get my light together.
I keep saying I'm gonna upgrade my background.
It's okay.
At this point, at this point,
it's your signature background.
I know, you know what I'm saying, but look at her background. It looked like it say Dr. Jones.
Which is why I had to get it, right? Like, I'm on panels and talks and things all the time. I'm like, I can't be out here looking hood-tastic. Like, I had to set my I got my light.
Hood-tastic.
And I have a light too, but I have a whole remote. So it's right here. So all that standing up he's doing, I ain't got none of that.
Yeah.
In my hand.
And that's on period, sis.
I'm an amateur.
This is how I make my coins now. I can't be half-stepping. So
hey, she fully ready. She was more prepared for the show than we were.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get through with my Hebrew Israelite cough in the back of the line. I'm gonna switch it up. Come in here, y'all gonna be shocked and appalled on one of these shows.
Right. It's definitely gonna be obvious.
So good. I might even throw my glasses on and look scholarly. You know what I'm saying? While I'm on the show, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Look as intelligent and as educated as I could possibly be. But we finna keep this show off though.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's roll with it.
Yo.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Darius J.
And I'm Stevie Neal.
And this your girl Mela G.
With special guests.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Angel Jones. Hey, y'all.
What's up, everybody? And this is
Convrs8.
Let's talk about it.
All right. You know what I'm saying? So, another show. We miss y'all. We down to monthly shows right now because we are as busy as we can possibly be.
But it'll be concentrated.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We put out good content every time. It's excellent. We had excellent guests. You know what I'm saying? Lately, all the beautiful sisters have been represented for us. You know what I'm saying? They've been pulling in and showing up and showing out. And we're glad to showcase another one in Dr. Jones.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, guys, around this time, we always ask how you living. First off, special guest and ladies first.
I'm amazing. Life has been pretty dope lately, despite how much our country is on fire and our world is on fire. But I feel like because of that, this has given me time and space to really do the work that needs to be done to really help our students, our community, our people. So yeah, just really focusing on doing the work and creating spaces for our voices to be heard, for our stories to be told, and really enjoying doing that. So yeah, super grateful.
Awesome.
Fantastic. How you living, Mela G?
As always, learning and growing. Me and a brother, Chase, is doing this 6-week challenge where we're holding each other accountable to get our creative projects off the ground. So a lot of not just talking about it, but being about it. And so it's been really great. We have our weekly check-in. We have milestones that we created for the projects that we're working on. And yeah, I'm not going to say what I'm releasing just yet and let it be a surprise. But I'm working on something really amazing that I'm hoping is going to be able to help other small businesses catapult their vision and get off, like get from the mentality of thinking about doing it, but actually launching it. So, yeah, that's been kind of like how I live in, among many other things. I kind of concur with Dr. Angel as well, with all the chaos that's going on in the world. Sometimes it's kind of hard to navigate through it and be positive. But I think with this 6-week challenge that I've been doing, I've been able to kind of balance myself out, if you will, and not be so consumed with what's going on in the world that deters me from actually putting something out that's meaningful. So that's how I've been.
How you live, Stephen Neal?
Well, first of all, I'd like to point out how amazingly efficient we are at our How We Livings right now. It's real clean and smooth. I love it. But how I'm living, first of all, today we got to baptize a young man that we've been studying the Bible with since July, but really since a few years ago when he first picked up. Shout out to Jay for getting dunked.
Woo!
Getting dipped in the water and making the decision to make Jesus Lord. So that happened today. And also this weekend, I tried to do the handyman thing. My washing machine went bad and I replaced a part and it actually started to work again, but it failed. It failed again. So I had to buy a new washing machine. And that's not as fun as it should be, right? Like you're plunking down that kind of money. Like, you want to enjoy it, right? But nah, that's adulting. You know what I mean? So I had to do that, you know what I mean? But I turned it into a good time because I did like 4 loads of laundry, man. When I got home last night, I'm like, I'm making sure this thing worked. I put out this kind of money that I did not expect. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's just how I'm living, just kind of, putting out fires, solving problems, goals and dreams like Mela was talking about too, we have some collaborations, we have some things we're trying to get off the ground. And of course, Convrs8. It's been show week. It's been a whole lot of fun. Just seeing how everybody reacts with everything and interacts with everything, trying to establish that Convrs8 culture for you guys, the conversators. So that is how I'm living. How you living, Darius J?
DJ.
I am living well, now. It has been a stressful week, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know I've been studying for cloud certifications and stuff like that, and going through the process of trying to get myself on another level, you know what I mean? And amongst living life and working my current job, you know what I'm saying, which has been getting more and more difficult, you know what I'm saying, to deal with certain people. Yeah, you know, you understand people don't hear you in a room. You just be like, I want to do something crazy, but you know, I'm trying to stay employed. Sometimes,
Amen.
Like, I had to get pulled to the side by my VP and be like, "Yo, you know what I'm saying? How you went off on them people, you know?" But you know, it is what it is. But I haven't even really been saying anything. I kind of just like been just doing what I need to do. I kind of switched my role up with the whole thing, and I don't know. Everything that I'm working for now is kind of like it's part of an exit strategy. You know what I mean? And just trying to be positive, you know what I'm saying, in it all, and trying to be able to, you know, like my mom always told me, like, when you go into a job, there's always something you can take from it. You know what I mean? So right now I'm pulling the resources either through experiences or just the plain overall work and what I have to do, and you know, to make my day and see can I come away with something positive, something that will be able to translate into new positions, and trying to be like, you know, in my own zone. You know what I mean? Like I like, you know me, I always say I am willing to come in the door like I came in, and that's looking. I'm always looking for something new. You know what I'm saying? I'm always looking. Like I don't like to live my life like I'm dependent on something when I know I have skills that can translate over into revenue. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when people feel like they got something over you, they feel like they can hold you in a specific position. And I don't. In the past couple of years, I just don't live like that anymore. I'm just like, nah, I can always get better and do better. So I'm gonna live that way, and I don't want to. I'm not gonna be held down by what you think you can hold me to, because I know, just like it's a door in, it's always a door out into another door in. But yeah, I've been living like that.
Deep. I love it.
Well, compelling and rich. We're living pretty well for the most part overall, so that's a good thing. So let's jump into our topic winner. Thank you again for voting and participating in our polls on Instagram. So the winner was the Crown Act that was just passed by the House of Representatives. Actually, we see that Angel actually recently posted something on her Twitter in regards to the Crown Act. So it'll be only fair for her to kind of start off the conversation. I'm going to put the tweet on the overlay so everyone can see what she posted. But kind of give us like your thoughts around like where your mindset was when posting this and when finding out that it passed.
Yeah, I think for me, just the work I do in general, it is race-based, it's gender-based. I call out white supremacy and white privilege on a regular basis. And as a result of that, I do get a lot of trolls that come for me and keep telling me that white privilege doesn't exist, it's a myth, and we're just crying about something that just that doesn't exist. So I'm constantly reminding people of the different ways in which white privilege shows itself. And when it comes to the Crown Act, I feel like it's ridiculous that a Crown Act is even necessary, right? Like the fact that I need a law to tell y'all that y'all can't come for me because of the hair that grows out of my head naturally. Like that is bananas, right? And I think of, I mean, I've been natural now for 15 years, but like I had my first perm when I was 7. Because I wanted to look a certain way because I saw girls on TV and things like that, and just how controlled I was by wanting to fit into these white ideals or these white standards of beauty, and it controlled me for a long time. And then even once I went natural, like I still struggled with it, right? So like if I had a job interview, I would straighten my hair before that job interview, right? Because straight hair is thought to be professional and stuff like that. I don't move that way anymore, but I definitely struggled with it, right? So it's great that it got passed in the House. It's not a law yet. It still has a way to go, and I honestly don't know which way it's going to go. Obviously, I know what I want, but it shouldn't be necessary.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think, I mean, I'm not really on social media as much unless it pertains to business things, but I think when I heard that this was a topic winner, I kind of went and did some research and look at articles and just kind of look down through history, and it's amazed me that, I mean, it didn't really amaze me because there's so many different things that we're discriminated against, and outside of just hair. But it was just interesting just how it evolved over the years. There was actually a case in 1976 where the U.S. Court of Appeals upheld a race discrimination lawsuit against an employer for a bias against afros, and that was in 1976. And even like in the 1700s, you go back to slaves covering their hair, with head rags due to harsh demands of work. But then you have the people who were working in the house that was emulating their hair to kind of reflect, Eurocentric styles, whether they wore wigs or they kind of emulated their natural hair to kind of, imitate, what, the European culture was kind of represented at the time. And then that is and was and is still to this day kind of the standard of beauty, So the fact that, kind of like what you said towards the end of your comment, is that why is it even a thing that we have to have a law to say for hair, like of all things, like I can't have a job in certain workplaces because of the way my hair is. My hair is my hair. Like why would you want me to change that for, so maybe I know why, but it's just like, why? So
yeah, like, because for me, what I'm saying, I always wore my hair the way I wanted to wear it, what I'm saying, even though just like, even talking to my grandmother and stuff like that, she was just like, well, you'll never get a good job like that. And I was just like, I mean, I hopefully my skill will be able to showcase itself. I said, because I'm not coming in looking like a bum. I always keep my face and stuff like that shaved and stuff like that, hair taped and everything like that. But the way I wear my hair shouldn't be the deal breaker in what I'm saying, in this place. Like, I have the skills to do the job, what I'm saying, and and I know it more, what I'm saying, relates to as it come with, what I'm saying, to the women, what I'm saying, because, man, they got to get a job. That the first thing they do if they feel like they're going to go to a place, they just going to cut their hair off. And just like, I was like, well, I'm not cutting my hair off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't messy or anything or nothing like that. I'm just wear my hair the way I wear. I got dreads. Just deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it ain't like I'm walking around looking at your head all day. But, people of the less melanated tones, that's what they do. They judge and they look at things and they, make their decisions upon stereotypes in which they build. And they try to hold you to the standard, what I'm saying, into which they believe, what I'm saying, because most of the time the things that we have done or how we treat people, we don't treat people that way. And most of the time, what I'm saying, we try, like, I know, like my grandmother, she just only, reciprocated what she had been taught all life. But, and I just told myself I would never live like that. I was just like, it's hard, what I'm saying? And that's even something that I try to tell my little sisters and stuff like that. I was just like, yo, you got to get out of college. Things are a lot better now, but it's still going to be hard. And you're still going to run into hardships that, doing things in the professional realm. And, people going to try to try you up and they're going to try to belittle you. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's through blatancy, what I'm saying, just being outright, or they going to, do the little shadow game, which is just saying little things that bother people. And I like I said, man, it's just crazy that we have to have something to protect us. You know what I'm saying? It's just like after the civil rights came affirmative action and, several other things and policies that come around to try to protect us. And still it's not all the way, because even just like something that I posted, what I'm saying, on the group page, I was just like, if a lot of these things that y'all seem to not matter, why don't you just take race off most of the applications that we have to use in order to get access to things?
Right.
If it really doesn't matter, if we live in a world that's not judging people off their skin, hair, you know what I'm saying, and everything. But
yeah, and just to add to that, I just being in the tech space, for example, like I'm in IT right now, and very similar level jobs. It really doesn't matter. Like, like I have my beard like this. I have my beard even thicker than this. It's all that matters is like you can do the job. You know what I mean? And even if you are interfacing with customers, unless I'm like a product developer or a product manager or something like that, I'm not really interfacing with a whole lot of people. But so then on the school level, we tell our kids, oh, well, you have to, straighten your hair or keep it cut like in a certain standard or something like that. Because I remember there's a theme school not too far from here, Narva J. Harris Elementary School, that put up a chart and basically said like, anything like any of those like tapers with like parts in them and stuff, like they couldn't even wear that. It had to be just straight up low cuts or something like that. Like, to me, that's like attacks a culture. That's like specific. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the thing is, our own people, we do it to each other because we're trying to protect, from like that discrimination. But in essence, we kind of erase our own cultural pride or any kind of autonomy. You know what I mean? And so that's like the double effect of something like that, is like you don't get to really be yourself. Whereas others, like, we've had discussions like this, if two different people have like the same length hair, but Trevor has a different texture in that length, he gets to rock his Thor hair while I have to cut my afro. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's the ugliest effect of all, is that it just kind of makes you ashamed of your own heritage.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like a lot of people think that hair discrimination is just in the professional world, right? But it is affecting our kids. And so just like there are actual school dress codes that say no braids, no dreadlocks. I think that specifically target our kids. I remember and it does affect men and boys too, which I definitely want to point out. Last year there was a wrestler, a young man, who was forced by the ref to cut off his dreads, otherwise they would not let him compete.
Right, at the match.
Had to get them like cut in front of everybody in order to be able to do this. Meanwhile, there are white male wrestlers with their long ponytails and all types of things that get to do whatever they want to do, right? So I'm happy for this law because I feel like it'll help our kids, and I'm always going to care about them more than anything. So I'm glad it's going to help us too as Black women and as Black men. But we shouldn't need it. But I'm glad that it will help our kids to be able to show up as their authentic self, because it does mess with your racial identity development. It was already so hard for them in this country. Their hair should be the last thing that they have to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. That's why I love this quote by Marcus Garvey. He says, don't remove the kinks from your hair, remove them from your brain. Yes. I think that's so powerful, because I think it is definitely a mindset change, because like you said, it affects our being, like who we are authentically, or what could potentially prevent us from being ourselves authentically. The way that we do it, because I feel like I know that hair is power, because for a while I really didn't like my hair. Even growing up getting perms, I didn't really kind of connect it to like this is the way I need to appear. It was just more of like, well, my mom did perms, so I'm just going to continue to do it because this is pretty much how I know how my hair will be straight. But then when I started, reading into how it's damaging my hair, so let me grow this out, let me go natural. And then I was like, okay, I really don't know, like that whole natural, transition and trying to figure out what to do your hair every day and what products work best for your hair. And you still got to be presentable and still this. And it was just like a lot. So I was like, oh, well, lock them up because I don't know what to do. And then even through that stage, it's like, oh my God, it's a never ending cycle just to kind of become this authentic person, like even through like your hair, like expressing yourself through your hair. So now I feel like I've reached a place that even when I'm in my, new growth stage, I still can maintain a style to where I feel comfortable in myself. And I don't have to like hide behind a hat or hide behind, something else until I'm able to get it done again. And I think it kind of correlates to just me as a person, where I tend to hide behind certain things because I don't feel like I'm, I don't meet a certain standard in order to possess that, or whatever the case may be. So I do feel like the issue definitely runs deeper than just hair itself. I think the message behind it causes you kind of have like an identity crisis, if you will, like really trying to figure out who are you authentically and how are you able to really share that with the world or with your peers, or even just like a interpersonal level. So yeah, I definitely agree. It's much deeper than, it's not just professional. It's definitely like a identity issue as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and what I love too is that Dove is stepped out and kind of champion this cause, or like make people aware of it. So the fact that a company would kind of put themselves out there. I mean, of course, say what you will one way or the other. Does it sell more Dove? Probably. It can't hurt them to step out in front of this cause. But I think it's awesome at the same time, because a lot of people, depending on your station in life, some people have the privilege of this not being an issue, and now they get to at least hear the dialogue. I mean, but you can say that about a lot of things. I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean,
Dove also had some issues with our community and had that whole racist commercial fallout last year. So
redeeming themselves.
Just say, I mean, or they could have done the work right and hired someone that is doing the work for them, right? Like that is possible too. I'm gonna hope it's the latter and give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm gonna need to see if it's continued or if y'all just take it from because y'all still in trouble with us.
Because a lot of people
and I love Dove, so I was tight. I was like, yo, like you're my favorite soap. Now I gotta go find something else. I'm out here wilding. Come on.
Yeah, I'm telling you, companies sure do change the whole scope of your life and grooming. Once you be like, hey man, they don't did that. Well,
it's exhausting. There's so many places to cancel, man. I can't keep up sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why you buy black owned. You ain't got to worry. Buy black owned, and you ain't got to worry about all this other foolishness.
Exactly. Support one another.
Support one another, because it is a trying thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
absolutely. So I guess we can transition into this next topic, which I feel that we should talk about the debate because there's been so many memes, number one, that's been created from both of the debates, the vice president and the presidential debate. But I don't have any specific question at the moment, but I guess just like, what have been your overall thoughts of just this whole debate situation?
Boy,
I mean, yeah, you got it, Darius.
I guess I'll start, man. You know what I mean? My thoughts on the whole debates. For one, you know what I'm saying? The first one with the presidential debates. Let's just start with that tomfoolery.
Right.
That was a sad show of our political situation right now. You know what I mean? And it kind of disheartened me as I had talks with, several people. Most of our friends are political, you know what I'm saying? And they're going to say what they say and say what they have to say. But I was just like, yo, man, like, is this all we had to offer for the parties? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, the only hope for Joe Biden is Kamala. You know what I'm saying? That's the only good thing about his whole thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like hoping for just him saying, you know what? I'm 100 years old. I'm gonna step down and let Kamala take over. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know where I'm at half the time. You know what I'm saying? But Donald Trump, you know, he's been who he has been for the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, he's never changed, and I don't even understand how we allowed this guy to get into office. I'm still baffled at
that. I'm baffled as well.
I'm like, I just sit there and just like, because I was talking to my mother-in-law yesterday, because this is her favorite subject right here. And she was just like, this dude, you know what I'm saying, is an idiot. That's all she ever say about it. He's an idiot. And I'm just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But I don't get it. Like, I was like, what? The Republicans, y'all had the offer with Donald J. Trump. You know what I'm saying? Y'all could have picked Mitt Romney again. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Daffy Duck.
Somebody, you know what I'm saying? However it goes. But I was just like, this all y'all got? You know what I mean? Like, dude, you could have got the dude working at the front door of the White House. I would have took it. You know what I'm saying? But this right here, it was just sad for me. And I was just like, all that is was a yelling match. Because just like I tell people, the way Donald Trump debate is all he do is he know how to pick a fight. And once you get up under your skin, he under your skin. Now you out of sorts. And now you don't stoop down to his level.
Very petty.
I'm telling you, like, he a master manipulator. Like, he know how to get people off issues and just listen to what he has to say, and which most time is nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because the people that listen to him, I just be like, I do understand your intelligence level now. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, with the vice president thing, I was just like, yo, man, why this dude keep trying to talk over this lady like that? I'm like, yo, it ain't even your turn. And the moderators, they need to get some moderators with some buttons or something. Just like, hey,
a black woman.
Something. I don't get that. And I'm just like, yo, you really trying to use your privilege right now. Like, hey, shut up. I don't want to hear what you got to say with the fly on the side of my head. I was like, is he in decay right now? Because flies don't stay on alive things like that. You know what I'm saying? People that are alive and moving, I'm telling you, that fly was chilling for a cool 12 minutes and 30 seconds. And I was just like, and his eye was messed up, and I was like, is he dead? Stop. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, that whole White House staff might be real COVID-y right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, I mean, it made it hard to listen to. And like, even though she was making valid points, you know what I'm saying? It was hard to just sit there and listen to, because it's just like, this dude is getting on my nerve. If I was in the crowd, I would have walked up and just like, and it's like, now you can talk, auntie. But yeah, that's what
I mean, I feel like this is the kind of the sum total of what we all have voted for. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's been really easy in the last 20 years to become apathetic to politics. I mean, I'll even take it back to, you know, George W. Bush and what happened with that election. You know, that was my first time voting. Like, I was 18 years old. I waited 3 hours to vote in some small church gym just for the Supreme Court to decide who the president was. So that's frustrating. It's frustrating, but it's had like a chain reaction on the local level around here. Like, Georgia for a long time was Democratic gubernatorial wise. Like, Del Miller, the Democrats created a Hope Scholarship.
Yeah, you know, exactly.
And
I was talking about that yesterday.
Exactly. And kept it in place for a really long time as it was before it got changed to, you know, it got altered to kind of, you know, benefit people who don't need it. But anyway,
right. That part, 3.7 GPA.
Exactly. What is that? Anyway, so with the recent events, you know, with George Bush and then with Roy Barnes kind of getting supplanted by Purdue. Yes. Yeah. Purdue was the guy that kind of changed the tide around here. It's just kind of like, just here in Georgia, it's just like, oh, we're just so hopelessly red or whatever. And I mean, whatever that means, I mean, that's fine, but don't just like knock yourself out the process. You know what I mean? Like, because you take your voice out of it, then you just let whoever else is speaking be heard. And, you know, that kind of addresses what you were saying, Darius. Like, how did we get here? How did Mr. You're fired. Become the president of the United States. Like the whole, the star of The Apprentice is now the president of the United States. Because it's just like a lot of other people who might have opposed him because of things going the way they were going, George Bush with 9/11 and, how things shifted in that way as far as our freedoms and how, just what we tolerate in politics. People were just like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired, man. What would happen with Al Gore, what happened with John Kerry, even though he didn't have a shot. But
he didn't.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just tired, so I'm just gonna sit out of it. And I think Obama was refreshing, I suppose. But then even that was just had all this back and forth and the tug of war. And
found out how indecent the House is.
Right. Yeah. Right. It kind of lifted the curtain on that. So then that's even more fatigue to the point where in 2016, it's Hillary's turn, but you're like, what does that even mean? So it's like, we're a lot of fatigues going on. So this is who we have. It's a culmination of all these elections that you have participated in or not participated in, depending on who you are.
Exactly.
This is what we have. So
that's all we got.
Yeah. It was interesting. Okay. The presidential debate was a comedy show the entire time. It was really hard for me to really focus on what they were actually saying. Although I did catch a few things because I, was on social media as well. So the people who was watching it with me was catching important parts where I may have been laughing and not really listening. There's a lot of petty stuff going on too, like a lot of throwing under the bus, like really not focusing on the issues, not answering the questions. Although I feel like the moderator should have been different. He did ask some really specific questions to both candidates, and they did not. They definitely
none of them answered the question.
Deflected, especially regarding white supremacy. And I didn't even hear any Black agenda. I didn't even hear what are you going to do for us. Not that I felt like I was expecting anything to say, but I mean, I had some type of hope that you were going, And then I think also too, I didn't watch the vice presidential debate live because I just felt like it was going to be foolery. But I wish I would have watched it just because of the fly. That's the only reason why I wish I would have watched it. But I digress. I do feel like his comment around systematic racism. Now, I'm not sure what his response was. So if you can help me out to say here, like, what did he actually say around it? He just said that it didn't exist at all, or that's pretty much what he was saying. It didn't exist.
I'm about to say that's pretty. You hit the nail on the head with that one. That's exactly what he said.
Stand by.
Stand by. Right, that part. Yeah. Stand down. Stand by.
Stand by.
Yeah, I'm just like,
sir.
What? I say, it must be nice to go to a nice gated community where everybody that live in your community look just like you. That's all I can say to that.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So y'all can see from my Twitter rants, I had some feelings. I will not dignify that first debacle with any commentary, so I will start and finish with the vice president debate. So that one was actually a debate.
Right, exactly.
And when it comes so first, okay, because I feel like people butcher our sister's name on a regular basis to our viewers. Her name is Kamala, and I feel like people call her Kamala all the time. And the way she teaches people, like, it's a comma, like in grammar, and then comma, and I feel like people, even on the news, and I'm like, yo, like, she's been running for 2 years, and they still mess up her name. I think some of them do it on purpose. But I digress. So I feel like even taking politics out of the vice president debate, I think for me, I guess based on the work I do, focus on the race and gender issues of the entire thing. And I just feel like, one, I think he disrespected her regularly because she was a woman, because she was a Black woman. I don't think that he would have been I don't think he would have interrupted as much. She wouldn't have had to tell him 15 times I'm speaking. And I feel like even that, I feel like she had to hold herself back out of fear of perpetuating the angry Black stereotype, right? And I feel like because had she clapped back, which she had every right to, they would have portrayed her a certain way. So I feel like she bit her tongue a lot more than she wanted to. But I'm sure that there were Black women at home saying everything she wanted to say and couldn't say in that space, right? So that part of it frustrated me just because of what that is like. And then I feel like, and she even had to check him in terms of like, what I'm not about to do is argue with someone that doesn't have any qualifications in this area. So like she had to check him and run her resume, which I feel like is something that I have to do often. So I definitely felt that in my soul when she did that. But I feel like what frustrated me even more is that even though she was very composed, they still came for her after the debate and still painted her as this angry Black woman, which ticked me off. So Donald Trump called her a monster the next morning when he was in an interview on Fox News and said it like 3 times. Called her a monster and a communist. And I was livid. I was like, are you serious? Like, what part of yesterday made her a monster? But he's also intimidated by women and calls women's name all the time. But I'm just like, she is the vice presidential candidate. Like, and this is the woman that you're out there calling a monster, which really irks me. And then there was another Fox News commentator, whatever you want to call them, that night, he called her an insufferable lying B word. He tweeted this publicly. That's what he said that night. And then the next morning, his tweet said, "Good morning. Yep, she's still a B." And I was just like, y'all just get to say whatever you want about us, right? There's no consequence. Can you imagine if we said something about like, and then he doubled down and then retweeted his own tweets, and I was just like,
that's what I'm saying.
And I'm just like, really, like as composed and poised and professional as she was, y'all are still calling her an insufferable lying. I went to throw my computer across the room.
I mean, a world-class organization that Fox News is. I mean, I could even imagine someone like Black or white, like let's just say ESPN. We'll say ESPN. If someone said that, no matter who they are, they would be fired. You know what I mean? That is just journalistic integrity out of the window. That's unbelievable to me.
So yeah, if I don't remember his name, but if y'all go to my IG, I have a screenshot of this disgusting human being in his comments.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because that just go to show you who we're in some of these platforms that people own, and then there's an allowance and a lot, and that's why like a lot of people tell people like, yo man, like you ain't like, I was talking to my wife and my mother-in-law yesterday. I was just like, these systems are not gonna denounce themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like you thought Donald Trump was gonna get on there and denounce white supremacy. You was incorrect. You know what I'm saying? That's his financial backing. You know what I'm saying? And he stands on it. He stands on it constantly. You know what I'm saying? He shows that he's an agitator. He shows that he's basically a terrorist, a political terrorist. You know what I'm saying? And all you see is him belittle women, belittle people that think differently from him. He even belittle everybody. You know what I'm saying? And just like for Kamala to had to be put through that, I can tell people that stuff like upset me. Like I couldn't have been sitting in those in the vicinity. I couldn't even been the dude pulling the curtain. Because I would have just like, I'm finna go to prison, guys. I would have looked at the dude working beside me and said, "Hey Joe, I'm finna go to jail." You know what I'm saying? Because it'd be hard and I can't take that. Even my wife, I can't take stuff like that. I can't allow things like that to happen around me. I'm just like, hey, y'all gonna have to see me now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think that's something that you can do? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't take no disrespect for nobody around me. You know what I'm saying? Especially women, because even just like, I feel like our Black women need to be protected more. You know what I'm saying? Because oftentimes they step out first, you know what I'm saying? And they have to deal with things first because they are already out there, you know what I'm saying? And we have to step up. And that right there just shows that we have no community that will fight for her, you know what I'm saying? Or any woman, you know what I'm saying? Because any other community that had been, it would have been a wrap. You know what I'm saying? They would have destroyed that man. To be able to get on Instagram, he wouldn't have been able to walk around. That had to been Jewish people or anything like that. They would have showed up at that dude front step. He was like, yeah, come outside. Tell your kids to go in the house because this ain't gonna be pretty. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have that. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm not trying to advocate violence, but we do need a Black Panther type organization to come back. You know what I'm saying? To protect. But we can protect ourselves, so we won't have these obviously racist people. You know what I'm saying? Bigoted people stepping on us. You know what I'm saying? Because I just can't see it. Because just like I tell people, I would feel sorry for it. Like I almost killed my neighbor.
Oh Lord.
Because he disrespected my wife. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just like, she was just like, don't. I said, well, I'm gonna talk to him. I ain't gonna put my hands. I ain't gonna do that, I promise. But I will talk to him. And he ain't been that nice and polite to my wife.
I bet.
Because I was just like, she was like, he was nice the other day. Yeah, he better be, because I told him, you do that again.
I put the pause.
I know where you live.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're right. You're right. Okay, not about the violence part. I don't do that part. But in terms of Black women, so 50 years ago, Malcolm X said that the most unprotected, neglected, and disrespected person in the country is the Black woman. He said this 50 years ago, and it's still the same today, right? And I feel like, and we as Black women aren't just disrespected by white men. So let's keep it all the way funky, right? Like we're not even protected by our own men the way we need to, because I feel like I only saw myself and other women the next day trying to fight for Kamala, and Black men weren't saying a word. So I'm just like, so I think for us as a Black woman, we're like, dang, like who's gonna have our back besides us? And that's not to say like there are no Black men doing the work, right? Of course there are, but I'm like, there aren't enough.
It's not enough.
We need y'all, like we need y'all, and we just don't have it, and it's unfortunate.
And just speaking to what Darius was saying, and of course, whenever you invoke the Black Panther Party, everybody thinks all kinds of other things besides maybe the core of what they were, is that they just wanted to, all right, let's organize. Now that we are in this situation in America, let's not expect the system to one day bend to our will. Let's operate within this, you know what I mean? As far as sticking up for one another, you know what I mean? Whether it's like basically like if kids are walking home from school, somebody is like, if something happens to them, someone's round the corner to witness it and get justice. Now, you know what I'm saying? On a very basic level, I'm saying, and then just like economically too, to kind of stick up for one another in that realm as well, so that if you do have the capital to start a business, you have a means to actually start that business without jumping through a whole bunch of hoops that aren't meant for you to jump through. You know what I mean? So then that trickles down to even like defending a candidate like Kamala Harris. Like there should be a loud wave of support. You know what I mean? But the thing is, for whatever reason, we kind of have let this narrative pervade as far as, well, she locked up a bunch of Black people in LA. I admit I was one of those people like who kind of held her record as an attorney general against her, because I just like, okay, what was happening is that parents were being arrested for kids skipping school. You know what I mean? And I still feel like that's bad, but I've kind of read into more of the inner workings on that and how she had to make decisions. You know what I mean? See, and doing the legwork on that. But people will just see the highlights, like something like the New York Times or the major publication will just be like, well, somebody's mama got locked up because some kid skipped school. And that's all they'll hold on to. You know what I mean? We've allowed that to pervade. And I'm not saying, deny the facts or whatever, you know, fake news, you know, like, no, I'm not saying that at all, but just support. It would make a whole lot of difference as far as, you know, just advancing our causes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I feel like, and I tweeted about this when she first got nominated, and I was just like, there's a difference between coming for her politics and coming for her because of her race and gender. I have never been a fan of her politics, right? And I've been open and honest about that. But you can do that and not disrespect her. But I feel like people, because they don't know how to have intellectual conversations about politics, they instead will call her a monster or the B word because they don't have anything else to stand on. So yes, absolutely. If you don't agree with her politics, call her out on it, critique it, which is what we're supposed to do with our politicians, right? What you're not about to do, at least on my watch, is be racist or sexist towards her with me not saying nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally how I feel, because I'm with y'all guys. I was the same way, Stevie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, yo, there's a lot of stuff that she done and I'm not pleased with. But, you know, I always tried to make sure I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, overstepping or coming for her in that way, because just like, we don't agree with everybody in everything that we come across. It's just impossible. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying, we have to understand that we disagree, you know what I'm saying? And some things that people like, I don't like. And it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to all the way be, nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people hold people to, and this is one thing I don't like about politics, and you know, we hold people to this high standard, but we forget the humanity in all these things. We forget that people are people make mistakes and things happen, but you don't have to be disrespectful to people because they made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like, because just like how he was calling her out her name and stuff like that, stuff like that just, it infuriates me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, man, I'm the only boy, you know what I'm saying, of my mama's children, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got sisters and stuff like that. And I would hate for somebody to do that to them, you know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna have to see me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am that person that just like, all right, y'all know if I show up, furniture will be moved, you know what I'm saying? And I mean that, you know what I'm saying? Because I really take that stuff like that to heart. I really take protecting people seriously. If people have been around me, if women have been around me, I was like, hey, they know, we friends, but I'm still gonna step up for you. If somebody cross you the wrong way, I'm gonna be there, and I'll be like, yeah, what's up now? You know what I'm saying? I heard you talking. You thought I went with them, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I be trying to not be violent, but, you know,
you need a hug is what you need. A lot of anger. It's a lot of anger. I need you to work through that. Anger. I need you to work through that.
I don't even be upset half the time. I just have to let people know, like, yo, man, it's gonna be somebody answering that door if you're not. You know what I'm saying? And it might not be the way, it might not be no hello, how you doing? It might be like bop 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 bop. You know what I'm saying?
I'm loving it. Okay.
You know, I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't. That's why I'm like scared to have kids, man. Because I'm like, man, I'll be stressed or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had kids. I already be protecting my nieces and nephews. I'm like, dude, man, I had my own child, something of my flesh. It's gonna be a wrap for the school system. I'm gonna be like my mama was.
You just homeschool at that point.
If I got to come to school, school might lose its location. No, I'm just playing. I'm a good guy. I ain't been to prison for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I'm a good guy.
Knows he's in prison for real.
We're gonna take a breather. And Stevie Neal is gonna give us a word from our sponsor today.
That's right. Let's pay some bills. All right.
Right.
But yes. Man, we're talking about life during this time of elections and global pandemics, and makes you think about whether you have proper life insurance. That's right, life insurance.
Yeah.
with people losing family to the virus and just, making transitions in their lives, a firm life insurance policy is something that is needed to take care of family when, God forbid, you depart or if something unexpected happens. The Alexander Insurance Group is here to have these conversations during these times. You can contact Mr. Roland Alexander, friend of the program, at 770-456-5822. And you can hit him up on his website at alexanderinsurancegroup.net. That's all together.net. And you can start to put a plan in place to take care of yourself and take care of your family during this time.
I might be looking at myself.
Yes. We don't want to have to tell no fish place to bury you. For real. Because we got to stay a fish place for Rollo. You know what I'm saying? To get buried. Yeah, we just going to take them to the backyard, pour some gas on them, set them on fire.
I mean, I'm just getting cremated. I'm just going to say that right now.
That's what cremation is, ain't it?
I mean, yeah. I was saying I was agreeing with
you worded it.
That's what I just explained.
Not in the backyard.
I can't.
That's not cremation.
They have facilities. No, that's hood or country. I don't know what y'all doing down in Brooklyn. We take them to a place, and there's a machine, and they put them in.
Yeah. I'm not taking up space in the ground. What?
So
you want to be a tree?
Yeah.
You talking about you want one of them pods? You want to be buried in that pod?
Yeah, and then it
to be able to fertilize a tree.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
I haven't decided where.
Look at Angel's face.
I haven't decided. I haven't decided where. I have not decided where I would like to be buried, or where my ashes want to be scattered, so to speak. But I do definitely know I do not want to be anywhere near a coffin or a pine box because of Kill Bill Volume 2. Kill Bill Volume 2 killed all of that for me. Like, because one of my root fears is being buried alive. So I want no part of that. In case I
don't know that you're buried if you're dead.
I could reanimate Mela. I could. Hey, and then I'm just like,
no, your spirit gonna be gone. You know what I'm saying? Your energy gonna leave.
You go ahead and hold your breath.
I didn't know what to expect from this podcast. Wow, this is different than any other show I have been invited.
Alexander Insurance Group, everyone.
Everybody, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
So we reached the part of our show where we're going to go into an in-depth interview. I feel like we've been learning so much about you just through conversations that we've been having about several different topics, but just got to be more specific. How did you kind of get into and transition into your line of work?
I feel like for me, I don't know how I can watch TV and see what's happening and not be doing the work that I am doing. Originally, when I went to college, I was a pre-law poli-sci major because I actually wanted to be president of the United States and a Supreme Court justice. Like that was always the goal and the plan. But I started teaching law to middle schoolers and fell in love with the teaching aspect more than the law. And I was like, I can do law when I'm old. I'll do teaching now, when I'm younger. And then just fell in love with the community and everything. So I went into school counseling. I did that in Atlanta. I got my master's at Georgia State and was a middle school and high school counselor for 5 years and loved it. Definitely one of my favorite jobs that I have ever had. But I realized that, we were doing everything we could to get our Black and brown students into college, but they weren't being supported once they got there. So I think that kind of encouraged me to kind of make the transition from the K-12 space into higher ed. So that's why I decided to get my PhD, which I got from George Washington University. And my focus there was in inequality in education. And I just knew that generally I wanted to look at the experiences that Black and brown kids were having at historically white institutions and how it was impacting their mental health, which was because my background was in counseling. And I think just the more work I did and the more research I saw, just really wanting to be able to focus on racial trauma. So my research looks at microaggressions, racial trauma, implicit bias, white privilege, white supremacy, and all of those things, and how that impacts our students, us as Black people, us as brown people, and there are really bad negative effects like the depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, like all these things that are happening to us because of the racial trauma that we experience on a daily basis, whether it's happening to us directly or vicarious trauma that we experience from seeing George Floyd have that the office like 8 minutes and 46 seconds, right? So like that stuff impacts us too. So it's not just the things that happen to us personally. So just really getting into that work and doing a lot of research and research studies on it. I'm passionate about it. I love it. It's hard. It is emotionally taxing. It is mentally taxing. I have cried after interviews, after focus groups that I've done. I've cried while writing my dissertation. Well, also because the dissertation is a hard work, but also because just of the work, right? So it is emotionally taxing, but I can't imagine my life without teaching. I can't imagine my life without advocating for our people.
That's awesome. What do you feel like in this field? Like, I know that you're on Twitter a lot. It's not a platform that I really am on, but in that space, what have been some of like the challenges or like maybe craziest moments that you've experienced with followers, people that aren't following you, just people in the Twitter community?
I've seen one of them threads.
Lord, amen. So, and it's interesting because I wasn't a Twitter person either. I honestly just started my Twitter 2 months ago, just because a lot of academics and scholars are in that space. So I felt like I was missing out on that. And it's crazy because my first tweet went viral and got up to like 100,000 likes and shares on like all social media platforms. So I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, apparently. Which is great. But all of my tweets, I would say 99% are having to deal with race and gender, right? Things that make people feel uncomfortable because we live in a world that is dominated by white cisgender men, right? And kind of what that looks like. So when you're having 100,000 people like your stuff, you're going to get a couple hundred trolls, right? And I get a lot of Trump supporters. That come for me on a regular basis, both in my comments. I get DMs all the time, like every single day there's something. I've been called a Black supremacist. That's not a thing, just so people know. But I get called racist. I got called a cultist. I got told I don't deserve to be within 20 miles of an impressionable mind. Our education system is doomed because of me. Like they come for me on a regular basis. I get death threats as well. So I get things like this all the time. So like when it comes to the comments, I don't even read them anymore because they are so bad. But like when someone sends me a DM, I have to, because I also get business through social media and DMs, and I don't know if it's a good DM or a bad DM until you open it and read it. So those still get to me. But they think for the most part, they remind me that this is why I'm doing the work, right? Like because of people like you. So I don't post all of them, but I do post them periodically. So people can see like, look, like this is what the world looks like. This is how people are coming for me on a regular basis. So it's rough. I'm not going to lie. There are days where it really does get to me. And I've considered like just stopping altogether. But I'm like, no, like my work is needed. Like my work is important. And I'm not going to let them scare me away. But there are days where it hurts and it's hard.
Yeah, I actually was going to touch on that a little bit. Like what kind of keeps you going, because you're kind of in a space where you're actually affected by it as well. Like you're a product of it as well. So it's like, how do you kind of manage that, and what keeps you motivated?
I think for me, my first thing is always going to be my students. Like they are why I wake up, like they are why I do everything that I do. So just thinking of, okay, if I'm not doing this work, then they're not going to benefit from the work that I'm doing. And then so despite having trolls, like I have dope followers that I have never met that follow my work. That like, so especially when like I post the bad stuff, like there are people that like will just randomly hit me up like, hey, I just want to let you know, like I am so inspired by you. Like I follow you. I share your work with my students and things like that. And these are people that like I don't know. I people that have been like, oh, so I just finished reading your dissertation, and I'm like, the 197-page dissertation that I wrote, like I don't even want to read that again. But there are people that are out there reading my work and care about it. So I'm like, okay, like I need to keep doing it, and they definitely help bring me back up once I'm struggling.
Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome because it sounds like a challenge.
Yeah. And because I listen to say your episodes, Academic Smoke, you know what I mean, and the one what I'm saying that got me was when you were talking about especially the things that you was dealing with in school, going through that process of getting your doctorate, and what I'm saying, and how all the things that were coming against you, what I'm saying, from the people in your space, what I'm saying, the people that are supposed to be intelligent and stuff, what I'm saying. How and you got into it a little bit, a lot in the podcast, but just for the people that don't know in our space, like, how did you deal with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like, cause me, y'all already heard how
you like to move furniture. I don't go down like that, so it was a little bit different for me. And honestly, I would say the first 2 years of my program, I was shucking and jiving. Like, I was doing everything that I thought I needed to do to make them feel comfortable, and especially because I was fully funded, so they paid all of my tuition and my bills. So it's hard to clap back when you're like, yo, if I clap back the wrong way, there might not be no funds next year, right? So just really having to deal with that as a fear. And then also, like we talked about earlier, when it comes to Kamala, like, just this fear of perpetuating this whole angry Black woman stereotype, even though I have every single right to be angry, right? Like, I have a right to be angry. I have a right to move furniture if I want to. But like that just wasn't me. But then I realized at the end of my second year, I was struggling with what's called the racial battle fatigue, which is this concept of all of the physical and physiological symptoms that we as Black people experience because of experiencing racism on a consistent, prolonged basis, right? Mm-hmm. So like some of the psychological consequences of what I talked about earlier, so like anxiety, the depression, suicide, things like that. But then we also have these physiological symptoms and things like that. So like we have high blood pressure, high heart rates, stress ulcers, headaches, stomach aches, like all of these things that are manifesting in our bodies as well because of what we're going through that we don't even realize are happening to us, or we're not able to associate them with racial trauma, right? Like we're just like, oh, I just don't feel good today. Or like, but then you realize, wait a minute, why does my stomach only hurt on the mornings I have to go to school? Right? Like, why does my heart rate start racing only when I have to walk into this particular class, right? So like being able to see like these are the things that are happening to our bodies because of it. And I struggled so much, I ended up in the hospital. And especially for someone like me that already has a heart condition, like it got really bad. And like the doctor was like, your heart can't take the stress that you're under. Right. So like just struggling with that. And at the time I was seeing the therapist too. And then he was like, you need to take your stress out. And I was like, I can't quit school. Like, that's not an option. So what else you got? Like that, I'm not finna do that. Because then I was really going to let them win. But I was just like, yo, at the end of the day, I'm not going to let them kill me. Like physically, I'm not going to let them kill me. So I feel like that helps me to start advocating for myself. And like, I started calling stuff out, and I think it's me, right? So I don't like, I'm not doing all of this. I'm not cursing nobody. Like I'm not doing that. Like I know ways to like check someone respectfully, right? So, but at the same time, like I was like, yo, like I'm not gonna stay quiet while y'all are out here disrespecting me and other Black and brown students in this space. Like it's just not going down like
that.
Gotcha.
That's dope.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. So, so October just happens to be Hispanic Heritage Month. So how do your multiple cultural perspectives affect your work or even your life?
So shout out to Hispanic Heritage Month, which most people don't know is September 15th through October 15th, which is, I think, odd for a lot of people because most months are starting in the beginning, but it starts the 15th because 5 Latino countries have their Independence Day on the 15th of September, and then we kind of go from there. But honestly, so being African American and Puerto Rican, I think when it comes to my research has actually been a struggle that I didn't expect to be. And I think I started struggling with my identity actually once I got to college. So I grew up in the Puerto Rican part of my family, so I feel like that's always how I felt. But then I majored in African American studies once I got to college to experience that side, but just struggling with feeling like I didn't belong in either space. So I feel like in the Black space, they were like, you're not Black, you're Puerto Rican. In the Puerto Rican space, they're like, you a little dark, like you're not really one of us. So kind of just struggling with that. And I feel like even with my research, I struggled to even find Latino participants. Like I was mainly only able to find Black people that wanted to talk to me or interview with me and things like that. So that was the struggle for me, just feeling like, okay, like I care about both communities and I want to support and advocate for both communities, but just feeling like one of them just wasn't down for me. But I feel like I've been able to navigate that and find my space. So now I do work specifically on Afro-Latinas, and that's become a space that I've created for myself, and like making so I actually have a panel this Tuesday that I created that's about the experiences of Afro-Latinas in this country, and then I'm doing one next week about anti-Blackness in our community, which is running rampant and it's definitely an issue. So I feel like I'm I feel like just like with white folk, like I'm not gonna let y'all tell me what I can and cannot do. I'm not gonna wait for y'all to create spaces for our voices to be heard. So I feel like I was like, I'm qualified, like I can create these spaces for us, but it was definitely a struggle in the beginning.
All right.
So
yes. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, do you have like any advice for anybody that's kind of like thinking about choosing this field of study? Like, what are some things that you would kind of caution them with kind of entering into this space?
So specifically doing race-based work or getting their PhD? What do you mean?
More so the race-based, but I think just the doctorate program and just how, it's kind of pieced together. I think some encouragement and advice will be welcome in that space as well. But I think it was definitely more so just talking about just the race-based.
So I would say first thing, make sure this is what you want to do, because it is not for punks at all. And I mean, it's not everyone's calling, right? Like I feel like you can still be blackety black and not be an activist, right? Like they're like that doesn't mean like that's what you have to do, but it needs to, like for me, like it needs to be why I wake up in the morning. Otherwise it's going to break you down. So even someone like me that loves it and is passionate, like I still struggle, right, on a regular basis. So you need to know that this is the work that you want to do no matter what. And you need to believe in the work. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, like you're not going to be able to actually fight for our people, and people already don't listen to us. So if you don't believe it, like they're definitely not, not going to listen to it. And I mean, I think especially right now in our country with the Donald Trump, like he's banning critical race theory and race-based workshops and trainings if they're federally funded, because he thinks that they're anti-American. So I'm just like, if anti-racism is anti-American, then is racism American?
Right.
Which is why we need these things, right? So for me, it was a personal attack because all of my work is informed by critical race theory. So I'm a critical race scholar. That is the work that I do, and he specifically came for my work. So I think for me, like it was frustrating, but I'm like, but you're also reaffirming why the work is needed, right? So I think that's why I tell people like it is not for punks, right? So like I know friends of mine who are also in this work that lost contracts or lost specific, job opportunities that they had because the president was like, nah, we can't do that. And I think schools who aren't federally funded still use it as an excuse to pull the anti-racism workshops and stuff like that they weren't really trying to do in the first place. But so that, and I feel like find a community, like you need to be connected to other people doing the work, because those are the people that are holding me up. Those are the people that, we're able to do the work together. Like we can't do this by ourselves at all. So yeah, like make sure it's what you want, make sure you believe in it, and find a community of scholars that are also doing the work, because we need it to be joint effort.
I definitely don't have the it's not me. I might talk about it in my smaller spaces, but I definitely agree, like with anything, whatever you do, like if you're not passionate about it, it's definitely going to be evident. So make sure that you want to do it is important.
But Mela, you're so close. You already have the master's. Like it's just one more step, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. See, I do want to go back and pursue my doctorate, but I definitely want to pay for it out of my pocket, because I'm not trying to use any more government funds.
Yeah. When she said 120 some page dissertation, that took me out the running right there.
120 pages.
197. And I guarantee you, every single person that's ever wrote a dissertation knows exactly the number. 197.
Even worse.
And there are plenty that are longer. I read one that was 374. So they definitely vary. Mela,
I barely can write a 10-page paper.
Okay. But I mean, I love to write. So for me, like, I mean, it's a lot of work, but I love to write. So like, once I'm in the zone, like, I mean, I can write a 20-page paper in like 3 hours because I feel like I've been writing for so long and that's what I do. But it's not everyone's ministry, and there are plenty of things, Mela, that you can do that I can't do, right? So like, I feel like we all have things that we do, and as long as we're passionate about those things and we're doing those things to the best of our abilities, then I'm here for it.
Absolutely. All right. So, what is the one little known thing about becoming a doctor that you would like people to know?
Does it have to be a positive thing? Because there's a lot of negative things in the process. I think for me, and I think, and I actually wrote an article about it, I feel like one of the main things is that people don't tell you how emotionally taxing the process is going to be. So I think for me, like when I was prepping for it, I'm like, okay, this is going to be academically rigorous. It's going to kick my butt. But when I tell you the mental and emotional turmoil, was so much harder than like the actual work. I mean, the work is hard too, but I'm like, it was nothing compared to how much you question yourself. And then especially if you're used to being a scholar and you're used to being someone that gets really good grades and it's always like never had to, and that's how I was. Like I never questioned myself in my master's program and undergrad. I felt good. Like that was the one place I'm very insecure when it comes to other things, but I've never questioned myself when it comes to school. I got to the PhD, I was like, what am I doing here? But then like, so, and it's to find out like everyone has those thoughts. Like people consider dropping out on a regular basis. So I think most people don't know 50% of people who start a PhD don't finish it, right? So like it is common for that. And then when you look at women, our numbers are even less, right? Because we do things like have a kid and that might pull us out of school and things like that. So already knowing it's hard plus hearing those numbers. So like one teacher was like, yeah, so look to the left and the right. Out of the 6 of you, only 1 of you is going to make it because you're all women. And I was like, well, it has to be me because I'm not about to drop out. But you go through it. So most people go through what's called Impostor Syndrome, where you question yourself and you don't know. But that Imposter Syndrome is real and it really kicks your butt. But I feel like acknowledging it, I think is important. I think talking about it to other people, then you realize, oh, like it's not just me that feels that way. And like we can't all be here by mistake, right? Like we obviously belong here. So yeah, I feel like talking about it, but I feel like because that's not assessed on your college application, right? Like it's just like your GPA and your SAT scores, GRE scores, but it's not like how do you handle stress? Like like what's your current mental state like, right? Like I feel like we need to be thinking about those things too, because I feel like as a student, if you're already struggling with mental health issues even before you get into school and you weren't prepared for all the things that it's going to do to you, like there are a lot of people that are struggling, right? And then if you're a Black woman, you're dealing with racism and sexism and all of that, and it's just like, whew. Plus, write this 197-page dissertation, right? So I think that's the one thing that people don't talk about is that it is psychologically, mentally, and emotionally taxing.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I feel like I kind of experienced that a little bit in my master's program. Like, I definitely feel like it was emotionally taxing. Like the work was great. Like I made good grades, and I don't think like the assignments or anything. I think it was just like I would constantly question myself
all the time
in my intellect, and I'm like, am I smart or am I not?
Because and I was like, I'm in a whole PhD program in George Washington, and I was like, and they paid for it. I was like, they gonna find out that and it's what's so funny, when I got accepted, when I got my letter in my email, I thought it was a mistake. So like I didn't even allow myself to get it, because there have been instances in college admissions where colleges send acceptance letters to the wrong batch of kids, and kids have gotten excited and it ends up like they actually weren't really accepted. So I was like, I think that's what happened. Like I think that's what happened. And it wasn't until my advisor was like, hey Angel, I can't wait to see you in person. And I was like, oh, like for real, like this is me. I feel like I was struggling with imposter syndrome before I even stepped foot on campus, right? So it's like, whew. it's a lot. And I mean, but I know tenured professors that still struggle with it, which is encouraging because I'm like, okay, like I'm not alone. But then I'm like, wait a minute. So in 10 years, I'm still going to be struggling. Like, I don't want to do that either, right? But it's part of the process. So
right, yeah. Definitely. Something to continue. Thank you for reminding me of that. I mean, I have been thinking about doing my doctorate. Don't know in what yet, but I definitely.
Which is important, right? So I think that's why I waited so long to start it, because I think there were different things I was thinking about, and like I said, like it needs to, like it's just like the race paper. You need to know that this is exactly what you want to do, because on those days when you want to quit, if you already don't like what you're doing, it's going to be easier for you to quit, right? But if you love the work, that'll help sustain you throughout the program.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's no more questions. This was great. You know, I think throughout the show, I just kind of appreciate your perspective on all the topics that we had today. But I think just being able to get to know about you a little bit more. Well, I definitely have been already starting to follow you on your platforms. But I think it's amazing what you're doing in your space, in that space. And just I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Tenacity, maybe? I'm not sure. But like to be able to, like you said, get up every day and be passionate about what you do is, even though it may be emotionally taxing, like you're out there doing it and you're out there making a stand and you're out there making a name for yourself. So I'm hoping that I'm wishing you the best in everything that you desire to do. And if you do become the president, if you do go running,
you know what I'm saying?
You got my vote.
If you know what I'm saying, because you can use me as your vice president. You know what I'm saying? Because I plan on running for president anyway. Vice
presidents aren't allowed to move furniture. That's what Secret Service is for.
That's what
I'm gonna work with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be a hands-on vice president. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I will keep that in mind when I'm looking for running mates. I will keep that in mind.
Or I could work in the cabinet. You know what I'm saying? I could be Secretary of Defense or anything like that. I'm multifaceted and I'm well versed in a lot of things, and whatever you need me for, you know what I'm saying, I will read up on it and I get back to you. You know what I'm saying? But
no comment.
I know I would be an excellent addition, to your leadership. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I appreciate you, sir. Thank
you. Anytime you have a problem, all you got to do is look at me. I said,
get him.
Oh,
I can't.
And I'll be like, I'll step up and like, bap. It's like, hey man, why that dude came back to the camera with 2 black eyes? He crossed my president.
Anyways. Oh gosh. So we reached the part of the show where we're going to be sharing our final thoughts before signing off for today. So we're going to start with our special guest. What is a final thought of yours? Maybe something that you haven't shared, that you've been wanting to share throughout the show, or just anything else.
Or plug yourself too, you know what I'm saying?
I suck at that, so thank you for that reminder. I think for me, the biggest thing I want people to take away from today is y'all need to protect Black women, period. And I feel like I want y'all to be intentional about that. And I feel like there are many different ways to do that. But we as Black women, we are out here fighting for y'all, and it'd be nice if y'all fought for us too. So yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway. Fight for Black women, protect Black women, advocate for us. Yeah, definitely that. In terms of plug, y'all can follow me. I am Angel Jones, PhD on everything, because I like to keep things simple. So Facebook, Twitter, IG, even my website is angeljonesphd.com. I do race-based trainings, gender-based trainings, microaggressions, implicit bias, all that stuff. So if y'all need anything like that, hit me up.
Awesome.
All right. Final thoughts, Melody.
I think overall, I would just encourage people to continue to be authentic in their own space. I definitely feel like Angel hit the nail on the head when she was just talking about why you do what you do, basically. Like you have to be passionate about it. You have to have the skin for it, if you will. Like depending on what it is, but I feel like whatever it is, I think it's vital to be authentic. I think that's something that I struggle with for a while. Like even though I feel like I was validated on the outside by many people, but if you don't feel it yourself, like it's just not going to shine through. Like people could tell you all day that you're good for this and you're great for that and you're amazing, you're talented and this, that, and third. But if you don't believe that yourself, it's not gonna come out in your work. And so I'm grateful to say that I've finally reached that space to where I feel authentic in what I do, and that I can add value to any space. So that'll be my thoughts for anybody. It's just to be authentically you and add value to your space.
Final thoughts, Stephen Neal.
Yes, I would like to shout out 2 Black young men in sports that have made some major milestones this week. Quentin Byfield of the NHL, drafted by the Los Angeles Kings, number 2 overall. That is the highest draft selection in NHL history for a Black player. And I think that is significant. There have been, some pioneers before him, like the PK Subans of the world, or Grant Fuhr, or other great Black players, but definitely significant in a sport that traditionally does not give Black athletes a platform, and kind of just shifting that paradigm. And also Lewis Hamilton of Formula One. Just matched Michael Schumacher's win record in Formula One with his 91st win this weekend. Michael Schumacher was at one point the most wealthy athlete on the planet in the mid-90s. I mean, that's how much he won. He made more than Michael Jordan off of, in terms of his athletic space. So it's mind-blowing that another driver would even reach as many wins as he has, but the fact that Lewis Hamilton has done that, and again, platform that does not traditionally feature Black athletes. I salute Lewis Hamilton. I salute Quentin Byfield for making those milestones this past week and this past weekend, respectively. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. Congratulations, guys.
Final thoughts. There is Jay.
Well, I'll say this. Y'all know sometimes I get a little teachy or preachy on my final thoughts. Along the lines of what we've been talking about, and this is something that I have been like going through and trying to make sure that I am that in the space for like protecting our Black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's easy to protect the people that are around you. You know what I'm saying? Like your sisters, your mothers, aunties, cousins, and stuff like that. Even your friends. But we have to be more. We have to do it in totality. You know what I'm saying? We have to watch our sisters' backs. You know what I'm saying? On the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because we know the internet is almost a sentient being in itself. And just being more vocal about it, being able to stand up and stand in. Don't allow things to happen around you. I ain't saying fight people. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want y'all to think I'm a violent man. You know what I'm saying? Very peace loving and gentle. But just don't cross me. You know what I'm saying? But this life, if we don't choose to come together and take care of one another, the things that we're fighting for are kind of in vain. You know what I'm saying? Because if we fight to get this 2 steps forward, but we don't hold together and build a community that not only respects itself, but demands respect from others, it will fail. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard to hold things together, you know what I'm saying, without, you know what I'm saying, being together 100. And I know people would love to say, well, black people do this, black businesses, and we talk down to one another, but we got to be able to give each other grace, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all a learning process. We have several things that we have to deal with, and anybody that ever talked to me, I talk about, what I'm saying, the things that we have to deal with through generations, generational curses, or whatever you want to call them. Because a lot of these things are passed down through our DNA, and we don't understand why we deal with them, you know what I'm saying? Because I have things that I deal with, and I don't know where it come from. But the thing of it is, through mental health, you know what I'm saying, talking to people that, you know what I'm saying, can give me perspective to show me, you know what I'm saying, a way through or a way out, because I don't want that to pass down through my kids. I want to be able to teach my nieces and nephews that, this don't have to be the way for us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is just an obstacle, you know what I'm saying? And hard as it may be, you got somebody in your corner. And I feel like that's what it's all about. We have to get to the point where we really are truly healing and protecting each other through the healing process. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna be in this fight for, just plain old rights. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say black rights or anything like that. I just want to say just rights of humankind. I think everybody should be afforded the same treatment. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be backlash, because people don't want their system to change, because whether they believe it or not, they're comfortable in what they have, because that's the reason why they are so unrelenting and holding on to it and giving pushback and saying things don't exist. But we must continue to fight. We must continue to fight for one another. We must continue to love one another, and we must give each other grace. You know what I'm saying? We must just keep extending, you know what I'm saying, good tidings to one another until we get to the place where we obtain all the things that we are owed, due, and will gain. That's my final thoughts.
Thank you for sharing. So,
what you want to say, Mella? What you smiling for?
Oh, I just saw on Facebook that Alexis just got engaged to Ramon.
Hey, happy. Oh, hey man, that's good. Oh, Ramon.
Oh, that was a good way to end the show.
Congratulations, you crazy kids.
Yeah.
A long time coming. Well, this has been Convrs8.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. This has been Convrs8. We talked about it.
Thank you,
Dr. Jones, for
no problem. Thank you.
Us with your presence. You know what I'm saying? I've been going through your stuff these past couple of weeks, and I was like, hey, man, it's pretty cool. And I seen what some of them people were saying, and I was just like, should I DM them people? But, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was a good show, guys.
Right. Yes. Great show. And we will announce the next guest for our next show tomorrow. So stay tuned for another second Sunday of Convrs8.
Exactly.
In case you haven't noticed the pattern, that's
yeah. We do things intentionally over here in the Convrs8 space. We don't play no games. Everything is mapped out. Mella pretty much is. Yeah, nowadays. At first we was just really pulling from the hip. Like y'all seen it, y'all recognized it. So, but now we together, and Mella has got our tomfoolishness out the way and got us to think about what we're doing. That's why we need our black sisters around. Exactly. We need our sisters around her. I'm telling you, if it was just us.
Oh Lord, yeah.
We'll cut the lights off and try to hit a bullseye. You know what I'm saying?
I can't. On that note, I am in the live.
yeah, we're gonna end the live. But see y'all. See y'all later. Stay tuned for tomorrow for the announcement, and we'll see y'all next month.
Hey man, what y'all think my background should be anyway? Just